Okay, hello everyone, and welcome.
Hello.
All right, welcome to the Hoppier webinar, 7 Steps to Create a Benefits and Perks Program that Supports Your Remote Team. My name is Cassie. I have a bunny on my head, and welcome everyone. Fun fact, I am allergic to rabbits. So I want to start just by sharing how we came to do what we're doing today here at Hoppier. So we asked people a question on LinkedIn, and we asked them, does your employer offer a work from home stipend? And we saw that 25% of people said yes and that they love it. 6% said yes, but they don't care. 60% said no, but they wish. And 10% said no and that they don't care. And this was super interesting because we started to realize that the way that employees need to be supported now that we're working remotely, and that being remote is a part of everyone's strategy longer term, either entirely or in some small way. We need to support our team members in different ways than we have before in an office. And what I want to do just really quickly is I want to know where everybody is from. So, and where everybody's joining us live from. So in the chat, if you just want to write below where you're joining us from, it would be really cool to see where everybody is joining us from today. Cool, Ottawa, got Gokul D from India, Marcus from Ottawa, Uma from India, Thomas from Montreal, Ashley from Boston, Danielle from London, Uma from India. Great, and we have a few more people that are going to be joining us here. Portland, Oregon, Eric, welcome. So before Hoppier, I ran over 10 different companies, and I worked in Germany and I worked in Austria, and I worked throughout Central Europe. And really what I realized was that the way that employees were working together in different cultures, it was fascinating to see how we were managing with digital transformation projects and how we were managing, especially when we had people from all kinds of countries working together.
So hi everyone, my name is Thomas Paris. I am the head of marketing here at Hoppier. As I said in the chat, I'm actually from Belgium originally. But before joining this amazing team, I operated 2 fully remote companies in Europe. And so the one thing I learned during all these years is that when it comes to managing teams remotely, one size fits all simply does not work. So not only has each team member unique needs that can be linked to the remote work setup or not, it's also much harder to be aware of the challenges they might be facing. So this is really why, and especially when it comes to offering remote perks, personalization is really key.
So at the end of the webinar, we're going to give out one lucky person here a $200 team lunch credit to use towards a stipend that you can offer to your team.
And so that's the program. Today we will be presenting each of the 7 steps to create a benefits and perks program that supports your remote team. Okay, so, and guys, if you have any questions during this webinar, you can just ask them in the chat because we will end with a Q&A. So first step is understanding your team's needs. Okay, so I guess it's the same for all of you, but at least to me, this transition to remote work really took me by surprise. And I think we are all still understanding the impact it still has on remote employees. But what is clear by now, however, is that every team member, as I said, has unique needs and challenges. So some might have kids playing around in a small city flat and have a really hard time finding long periods of time to focus. Others might have difficulties dealing with the extra stress brought by these tough times. And even others might find it hard to stay healthy Because again, in my case, and maybe for you too, being at home, sorry, can lead to less exercise and unhealthy eating. So, the best way to understand your team's needs is by simply asking them. You can use a Google survey like this one, but one of my favorite tools is Typeform. So you ask a few questions and you send this survey to your team, and we actually recommend to start with demographic questions such as age and what department they belong to. Then you can deep dive into the topic that interests us today, which is their level of understanding of the current benefits program that you have, their utilization and preferences. So what we've seen is that the majority of employees don't even know what benefits they have, which means you as employer ends up paying for services that actually never get used.
So step 2 is really about getting creative. So once you have a strong understanding of your team and their needs, really the sky is the limit. And this is what we recommend to all of the companies that we work with. And really it's just to get creative. And we've actually published an ebook that we'll share at the end of the webinar with everyone by email. And this gives you the 25 best perks to support your team in a remote first world. And some of the common ones that we see range from everything from a work from home allowance to a lunch program to a social connections program, and many more. One of the most common ones that we see is actually the friends and family stipend. And this is because it's just flexible. And the best programs are typically the most flexible ones. Programs that don't necessarily benefit one group of people, but are flexible so that they work for everyone, whether you're a parent, whether you're a single person, whether you're living with children, or whatever your situation might be. And so again, endless possibilities at your fingertips. We've seen all kinds of different programs that companies are offering now to their remote or partially remote teams. Some of the common ones here you'll see, from a happy hour stipend to a health and wellness stipend to a lunch program, team recognition, and more. Welcome, Samantha from Puerto Rico. Gokul Deep saying he can't hear us. Gokul Deep, if you can maybe turn up your volume. I think we're okay on our end, but it might be, or if you refresh the page.
Is there anyone who cannot hear us? I can hear you both.
Okay. Perfect. So the next thing you can do is really to set kind of budgets around the different programs. So typically what we'll see is a company setting up a budget for a health and wellness program, an office essentials program, a lunch program. And then finally, what you can do is you can actually restrict vendors. And so we allow you to do this through the Hoppier platform. You can do this on your own by restricting vendors to say, these are the vendors that you can purchase from. With Hoppier, very simple. You just, at the click of a button, you can select what is restricted. So let's say that I wanted to create a work from home stipend. I can restrict it to Apple, Staples, Skillshare, Coursera, etc. Or let's say a professional development stipend. I could restrict the vendors to Audible, Masterclass, and several others. Maybe it's my local college has or university has a kind of online learning platform that I want to give employees access to. You can totally do that, and really the sky is the limit as you think creatively. Two really interesting examples I highlight. Hinge, which is a company that has a dating app, offers their employees a dating stipend to spend on dates. And this is just a great example of like living and breathing your culture, and allowing people to experience the product too. So Shopify, another great example, they offer e-commerce software, and what they do is they offer an entrepreneurship stipend where employees not only get to use the Shopify software for free, but they actually have the ability to use their entrepreneurship stipend towards their business. So really quick here, I'm curious, I'll launch a poll and I'll give everybody a minute to respond. I'm curious if anyone here is already offering a stipend. So I'll give everybody a minute here just to respond.
So you have the chat section, and on the right side, you'll see the poll section.
So you've got 50-50 so far. Yes, no, we're considering it. Very cool.
Wow.
A lot of people offering a stipend or allowance. That's amazing to see. So we'll continue, and we'll give everybody, we'll let that sit there. So moving on to step 3, sending out your stipends.
So that's the third step of the process, and that's where we have seen many people make mistakes. So the 2 common ways that you can send out your stipends are first through payroll amendments, and second through expense software. As I said, so those 2 methods tend to be inefficient for 2 reasons. First of all, it's actually quite time consuming for everyone. What do I mean by that? Well, employees waste valuable work hours on collecting and sending receipts. And then on the other side, you probably as an HR manager or people from your finance team waste time managing reimbursements. Super important as well, you might be missing out on very interesting tax optimization opportunities. Why? Well, because some of these lifestyle benefits can be qualified as non-taxable benefits, allowing you employers to save on payroll taxes, but also your employees to save on income taxes. So if you adjust payroll, or let's say you send gift cards, you'll need to record the value and pay the appropriate amount of taxes. Obviously, there is a better way to offer personalized lifestyle perks while minimizing costs and headaches, and it's by using a stipend management software such as Hoppier, of course. So to get started, the first thing that you want to do if you're going to use a software like Hoppier is create your first stipend by defining its category. And go to the next slide, Casey. So how do you do that? Well, you can look at the survey results at step 1 and pick the one that addresses the most common need among your team. Okay, so let's say it's a work from home stipend. You can give it a name, assign a budget to it, and then you can also decide whether or not you want that stipend to accrue, meaning unspent value will be added to next month's stipend or be refunded to you. As we said in step 2, you can approve vendors, so your employees will be able to only purchase from these vendors. And then at the next step, you can invite your team to just a few clicks by using a CSV file. So all these steps are super easy. And then for your employees, it's also become super easy to immediately start and use their stipend because they will have access to a custom-made virtual credit card. So each employee will have access through the platform to their own virtual credit card, and they can even link that stipend card to Apple or Google Pay to make it even easier to purchase the perks that they love using the virtual credit card.
Great. So I've got another poll question here, and I'm really curious to know if you have a stipend or allowance, how do you offer it to your employees? Is it through payroll amendment, expense software, or through some other process? So I just published that poll, and we'll give everybody a minute to kind of respond back. So it looks like payroll amendments are the most. Payroll amendments, now expense software, other.
What's the other way you send out your stipend? If you want to share it in the chat, I'm curious. Maybe through gift cards?
Well, Very interesting. All right, so we'll move on in the meantime and let people respond to that poll question. So step 4 is really measuring stipend usage. And so this is important because we want to understand how successful our programs are. And if we go back to step 1, we can kind of create a loop where we continuously go back and get feedback. We analyze the data from the programs that we did run based on our feedback, and then we make adjustments. And so based on measuring 2 things. So the first thing we can look at is utilization. So I gave my employees $100 per month for a work from home stipend. Is that being utilized by the employees? Are they actually using 100% of it? Are they using 50% of it? What are they using it on? Or can they use that on something else that might benefit them? The second thing that is very important to do that's helpful is just to look at an ENPS. So my employee NPS score, and if you use an ENPS tool, that's great. With Hoppier, we have it built into the product, and that's something that we constantly do as you're making changes to your stipends or allowances to help you understand that you're getting the most out of your budget. I know a lot of you are probably thinking about budget planning for 2021 right now, and we're all trying to make sure that we can make our budgets go as far as possible. And so very important to look at what are we getting on a return for these kind of programs that we're running for our employees.
Absolutely. So that's really key to understand. So how to use this data to then keep on optimizing your stipend program. Okay. So we talked about really 2 key metrics here to measure the engagement or like the success of your perks and benefits program. 2 things, as we said, engagement or utilization rate, and then the NPS. So using this data, now what you have to do is understand, okay, how can I actually use these insights to continuously improve my benefits and perks program? So let's say that your engagement rate on your perks program is actually quite low. So you can ask yourself a few questions. Questions can be, is the stipend value high enough, right? So have I also picked the wrong stipend category? So maybe, if you haven't done step 1 properly, then you're actually offering perks that don't match your team's needs. Or have I approved the right vendors within that category, right? So if you have a work from home stipend, then maybe if it's not being used, it means that the vendors within that work from home category are not the vendors that your employees were hoping to purchase from. And then also very, very important, and we can help you with that as well, is communication. So one thing that explains why traditional benefits programs are not being used is that most people don't actually know what they have access to. So it's super important to communicate very clearly this new remote perks program and explain to them how they can have access to it. And if it's not done correctly, that might explain why people are actually not using it. So, and if it's high, the question is, asking again that NPS. So it can be on a scale from 0 to 10. All likely is it that you would recommend our company's benefits and perks program, right? So you ask this question before you implement this new program, and then we'd recommend to ask it maybe after 1 month or after 3 months, and then look at how that score has evolved, okay? And so never be afraid to ask open questions such as, hey guys, hey team, we are rethinking our benefits and perks this month. So what can we do to make your lives easier? And one thing that we can tell you now is that most benefits programs have an average utilization rate of 30%. Hoppier customers achieve, in average, a rate of 91%. So employees absolutely love the perks they have access to because they actually match what they need the most.
So step 6 is managing your taxes and reporting. And one thing I recommend to everyone is before you run a stipend or allowance is really to sit down with your finance team and talk to them to understand what are the tax implications of offering different programs, such as a stipend or allowance. And so 2 really interesting things I'll highlight here, and I'm happy if anyone wants to connect with me on LinkedIn and reach out directly or send me an email to talk about different things such as taxation. I'm happy to talk to you about that. So 2 things I want to highlight. The first one is in the US, the Stafford Act, which is section 139 in the IRS, it actually allows employers to reimburse employees for additional expenses they incur because of an emergency. And you could consider the pandemic as an emergency. And as a result, some of those things that you might spend on or give to an employee that they're required to have to do their work could be considered as non-taxable benefits. Same thing in Canada. The CRA actually gave guidance in April saying that there's relief amount of up to $500 in respect to the amounts of which the employer provides receipts for personal computer equipment to enable the employee from working from home. And so with Hoppier, we actually allow you to see all of this data in one place to see what people spend on, and then also to get all of that data in a monthly report so that you can plug it into your accounting system. We want to make sure that everybody involved in the process is happy, employees are happy, HR is happy, and the finance team is happy.
Yeah, very important that the finance team is happy too. So the last step is set it on autopilot and relax. So last step is about relaxing. Yeah, we do recommend keeping a quarterly sync to understand if adjustments need to be made, right? But the beauty of this process is that, as Cassie said, once it's done, everybody gets what they want. So your employees get the freedom and flexibility to choose the perks they actually care about. Your finance team gets to say goodbye to the boring reimbursement process and also saves on payroll taxes. And you get what you want by making everyone happy in your team while minimizing costs and headaches.
So thank you everyone so much for joining us. One thing before I just run the poll on another page here to see who won that $200 lunch credit, I'm gonna just share something here. So right now, I'd love to have the chance to talk to you to learn more about your company, to see what you're doing. And what I wanna do is I wanna offer you a $10 stipend for you to grab coffee and to do a consultation and demo to learn more about how we might be able to help you. So I'm just going to share something here. You'll see on your screen pop up to get the consultation and demo, and I'm going to send you that stipend on the call once we have a chat. So if you just click through that link and you go through there, we're looking forward to chatting with you. And
Does
okay.
Anybody have questions?
Yes. Any questions? Any questions? And in the meantime, I'm going to run the numbers here. And it looks like Daniele Benoon from Permutive, you've won the $200 stipend. Congratulations. I'll be in touch by email shortly after.
Anyone has a questions about perks? Are you going to send it? I was a little late. Yes, so you'll get an email with the recording after this is done. Right after, you'll get an email with the recording. So you'll see the slides in the recording.
And we'll be sharing a few other things, such as the ebook that we highlighted and mentioned before.
Casey, do you want to take this one?
Yes. Do you support companies who are across multiple countries? Yes. So actually, we're based in Canada, but we have 80% of our customers in the US, and oftentimes probably the most common case is that companies have employees around the world. So we can support companies that have employees in Canada, US, and all over the place, really. Great question. Thanks, Samantha. Europe as well. Yes, great question. Europe as well, we can definitely help there. We do have customers really with employees all over the world.
Beautiful continent.
Any other questions?
I don't know if the person who said other, like in the first question, if you have a stipend, how do you offer the stipend? I'm really curious to understand what was the process. Was it like through gift cards or not, or something else? If not, it's okay. But I was curious. Any other question?
Okay, so Marcus is using Hoppier. Cool.
Cool.
All right. Well,
Hoppier.
We'll be in touch soon. Thanks so much, everyone, and thanks for joining us. And it was great, great chatting with everyone here. Thanks so much.
Do you support in India?
Yes, we do. We do. If you go through that link, Gokuldeep, you can book a consultation, and we can chat about how we can get your team set up.
And yeah, so one last thing is like when you want to offer like perks, creativity is really the only limit. So it's really about what your team needs, and if you want, some creative ideas on what kind of perks or stipends you would like to offer your team, we can chat about that. No strings attached.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.